I'm glad you said it because that's really what this has turned into.
Well, not what you guys listen. All right, we're back for another episode of Talking Preps. You guys going to find out what they were talking about later on. We're going to present our annual Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools all-conference teams. I don't pick them. They pick them. So you direct all of your ire to Gary Richmond, Randall Clark, and Rick Lewis. That's what you direct your ire. That's what you direct your ire. We're going to get started on the backside of this. All right, Randall, you know where I start the show. What caught your eye last week?
Well, I mean, I think the same thing that caught everybody's eye. We had quite a few scuffles, NBA, college, high school, all over the place. I think that was the big thing that stuck out this week.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm going to bring in the state championship basketball coach who loses about once a year, Mackenzie Graham of Lake Norman.
And your favorite coach. Go ahead and say that too.
Well, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
I say it's about time.
I say that. Going for back-to-back championships, but I mean, we're talking about fighting this happening. We saw the West Charlotte North make thing a couple weeks ago. They did not have a handshake line, right, Richard?
Correct. The girls did it pregame. The boys didn't do it at all.
I think that is a wonderful thing to do. Shake pregame. Do not shake postgame in these heated rivalry games. At Lake Norman on Friday, we had an incident in the girls' game and during the boys' game. Unfortunately, during the girls' game, we saw this happen. I want to get coach's reaction to it. Young lady getting the ball and just knocked over by a Mooresville player. Was there something that happened previous to that we're not catching on video?
No, listen, I mean, these games are, like you said, they're rivalry games. They're going to be heated from the tip. It's in our scout. It's in all of our game plans. We know that, stuff like that is just going to happen, and it's how we respond to it. We had talked about that the day before that. A Mooresville player was out in the game against us with our boys for trying to go onto the court during a scuffle. And so, there's so many rules now that say, hey, players leaving the bench, automatic ejection. And so that's just kind of the points of emphasis that we want to keep is not retaliation. We know where we want to go. And we don't want anything to get in the way of that. And so, again, these heated games, listen, stuff like this is going to happen. Kids are playing hard. They're trying to put on for these communities who are in the stands. The gym was packed. It was sold out during the girls' game. And so there was just a lot of fire, a lot of intensity there. And, do I think stuff like that is warranted in high school basketball? I definitely do not. But these are teenage kids, and we can only teach them from there. So, that's all I got to say about that.
All right. Why do you think, though, Coach, we've seen this uptick of violence in games, though? I mean, it's not just in Iredell County. It's not just in Mecklenburg County. It's in colleges and high schools and in pros. It's everywhere.
I don't know. I think it starts at the top a little bit. These kids are all over social media, and you see these people like Draymond and everybody's getting in these altercations, right? People are running their mouth more. There's a lot more hand signs and language. And I think it just needs to be squashed from the top. We try to teach at Lake Norman sportsmanship and decency. And sometimes that comes out in how we play and what we do. But to me, that's the most important thing. The ball's going to stop bouncing for these kids one day, and you can't get through life just trying to go and punish people and get in fights when stuff doesn't go your way. So, I think, I don't know. I just think a lot of games are heated. Some games are out of reach, and, there's just a lot of energy that's built up and really can't go anywhere else but into some anger issues like this. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to teach our kids over here that's not the way to play basketball. And hopefully, we can continue to show that, and hopefully it can build up from there.
Coach, congratulations on another great season.
Thank you.
I think we discussed this when we had you on the show last season, but this season, to me, has gotten worse as far as the competitiveness of girls basketball. And I wanted to get your opinion as somebody who is involved in a lot of blowouts. What is going on with girls basketball that you only have 1 to 2 teams per conference that are competitive anymore? What's going on with girls basketball that is so many blowouts?
Yeah, I think, the realignment of these conferences and just locations. We know that, a lot of schools in our area specifically, a lot of them are really good volleyball schools or really good soccer schools. And And, you know, for us right now, it's there for basketball, women's basketball here in Lake Norman. And so I'm not really sure. You know, I think things become more nowadays that you can't play multiple sports. You really have to focus on one. And so I think the middle ground kind of gets lost in that kids are, you know, you just have to be so focused on one. But yeah, the realignment of stuff, going to 8 classifications, putting us in conferences with just county schools. I mean, we're still 4 games short on the season because we couldn't find teams to play us. I don't know if they didn't want to. I don't know all the reasons behind that. But it's pretty frustrating because obviously you just want what's best for these kids. You want them to come out and get a full season of basketball. And yeah, you know, these scores are going to happen where they're lopsided and you have to fill those non-conference games. But, you know, with our conference this year, compared to last year's conference schedule, we had to find a lot of non-conference games and we weren't successful. And so, you know, again, in these games, I've never let our kids score 100 points. And you know, these seniors were kind of on me the other day. But again, I think that there's a way to win and I think there's a way to do it respectfully. And that's something that we've always tried to portray in what we do and how we win. But there are going to be lopsided games and there's going to be games that you can only do so much. And so just trying not to, you know, I don't want to use the word embarrassed because it has a negative connotation to it. But, you know, again, at the end of the day, these are teenage girls and they have a lot of pressure on them already. And I wish that something would happen where there could be a middle ground. And I think that maybe that could come with, you know, not being year round for all these sports. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school and I just can't imagine doing it at this day and age. So I think that that's probably where a lot of that comes from. But then these realignments and these conferences and jumping back and forth and every 3 years or whatever it is now, I just think that there's something to be said about that. And we're seeing it more this year than we have in the past.
I know Randa has a question. I do want to jump in, Coach. What do you think the future of girls basketball is? Because if I'm on a team that's getting my head beat in year after year, week after week, I'm not going to come out and play. And if I'm a middle school person looking to that, I'm not going to come out and play. We're going to end up with a bunch of super teams. And then we're already at that stage. We're a bunch of super teams and teams that are kind of have-nots. And what happens if the have-nots go away?
Well, I think we've already seen that. We've seen it in the past couple of years where the North Carolina High School Athletic Association has had to come out with the 5th quarter rule, right? We have these girls that are able to play 5 quarters and guys in a day. And so, you know, the JV players sometimes I even saw it last year that a JV player, just because she was a freshman, also started on the varsity team. And I'm not sure that that's ever going to go away. I think we see it now that there's a lot of teams at the very top. And then there's teams fighting, you know, for spots to get in at the very bottom. And I wish I had a perfect answer for it. I don't know. You know, for us, we've been super successful in just trying to do things the right way and have girls come through the program. One of my point guards, Kaylee Ellis, is a prime example of that. You know, she came in as a freshman, was on the JV team, played a little bit on the varsity squad as well. Didn't play much her sophomore and junior year, and then senior year kind of waited it out. And, you know, is now my starting point guard and getting some attention. So I think that, you know, just have to preach patience, you know, next man up mentality. There's a lot that has to go into the ball bouncing. And, you know, hopefully we continue to get more interest in girls basketball and not have the significant difference in the tops versus the bottoms. But at the same time, over here, we're just going to coach who wants to come out here. We're going to continue to push that, hey, if you want to be a part of something special, a culture that we've been able to really grow in the past decade, come on out and play. We'll try to teach you, you know, not only skills, but life lessons. And hey, we're pretty successful in doing so.
RC.
Hey, Coach, I know you said you mentioned earlier that it was in the scouting report that this is going to be a rivalry game. It's going to be a little bit heated. Do you have an assistant coach that is strictly assigned to keeping kids on the bench when stuff like that occurs?
Yeah, for sure. We've talked about that at the beginning of the season because referees are, you know, putting a big point of emphasis on stuff like that. So, again, you know, we saw it in the Mooresville South Airedale boys game. And so, yes, I have 2 assistant coaches that their job in a scuffle like that is to keep the girls on the bench. We actually had an incident up at Statesville High School in the same situation, and I actually had to go out onto the floor and get involved in that. So, yes, we do have processes and procedures in place for situations like that because, again, at the end of the day, we know we want something a little more deeper than a conference, you know, conference championship victory. We're trying to go all the way, and we need to be full strength in order to do that.
Richard.
Yeah, Coach, I just want to commend you and your players on how they reacted to that situation because the way you reacted de-escalated the situation on the court in a situation that could have become very ugly if y'all would have done something differently as far as retaliation. So I commend you and your players.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And again, it's something that we always harp on. Kelsey got an early tech when she broke the Lake Norman girls basketball scoring record. And her next tech would have had her rejected and out on senior night. And so we always say, listen, there's a bigger goal in mind than what we're in right now. And not that we're looking, into the future or to the next game or anything like that. We're living in the moment, but also understanding that there's consequences and stuff in moments like that if you let your emotions get the best of you.
Coach, I wonder, we on the show, we talk all the time about North Meck and Mallett Creek and, who's going to, come in that battle. And you guys kind of out there just minding your business, beating everybody 80-10. Do you like them beating each other up? Do you pay attention, or do you just worry about us and getting back to the state championship game again?
Listen, I know what time they play and I know what days they play on, right? And it's been fun to be able to see two powerhouses go at it in the same conference. And so, yes, I think it helps us a little bit just being able to sit back and relax at home on those nights. But it's games that you enjoy watching. Those are two, like we've talked, powerhouse teams. Mallard Creek's been a powerhouse. Jen's done an unbelievable job over at North Meck. And so I stay tuned on those. And it's tough because this year with the 8 classifications, I really do feel like 7A is the spot to be. There's a ton. I was looking at it the other day, and there's just a ton of talent in that 7A pool, and so we know that we have our work cut out for us. But last year we had the same thing. We went through a gauntlet of a postseason and ended up coming out on top. So we'd like to be pushed. I just wish that this year we could have found those 4 more games. We had one against Wilson High School down in Florence that got canceled because of the snow. But I'm just hoping that snow didn't really derail us from kind of our goals, because we've only had 2 days of practice since I think it was January 23rd. And this week we have 4 games. We play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and hopefully Friday in the conference tournament championship. So we'll see, right? Game like reps are better than any practice. We always say that, but there's some things that we definitely need to fine tune, and hopefully we can do that in some of the practices.
Well, there's a guy on this show right now that puts together really good tournaments. I'm sure he could work out getting some marquee girls matchups next year, maybe Lake Norman.
I know.
North Meck, Rick right there.
Absolutely.
Hey, Coach,
all right, Gary, last question, Gary.
Coach, you were mentioning, till you get back in playoff mode, how long will it take, you think, your team to get in playoff mode with so many easy games for so much of the season? You probably hadn't had a tough game since December. How long will it take them to get tuned up against good competition?
Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that. Last year, we had a tough Bishop McGinnis game. Brian Robinson came in and came up to the lake, and we had a good game at the latter part of last season. This year, like I said, we were supposed to play Wilson, and the snowstorm kind of got rid of that game. So I don't know, right? The good thing about it is our squad at practice, we have 11 girls that can really go. And so I think at the end of the season, normally you're just trying to be in rest and recover and injury-free and just shorter practices. So I think our practice planning is going to have to change a little bit. I think we're going to have to go against each other a little bit more, not just working on individual stuff, but really, trying to work on team stuff, because we had to separate there for about 2 weeks. And so hopefully sooner rather than later, I guess, would be a good answer. But I can promise you we'll be ready in whatever sense that looks like.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks. I want you to hang out just a little bit, because we're going to come back to one of your players in a second. Randall, our players of the week, who we got?
Well, we start off with Michaela Gidney up at Hickory Ridge. She had 32 points and 7 steals, and also became the school's leading scorer. Next up, my dog, Kenzie, up in Northwest.
I knew you were going to be excited about this one.
Yeah, that's my dog. She became the all-time leading scorer at Northwest Cabarrus this year, and she's going up to the state of Michigan to go play college next year. Jack Siegel and Joseph Capsiak over at Catholic both had 29 points and a 79-52 win over Piedmont on Friday. Jaleel Smith, Coach Rick's midseason player of the year.
That's right.
And an 84-80 win versus Kings Mountain, had 35 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals.
Okay, let me stop you right there, Randall.
I already know. I wasn't even going to do it. Go ahead.
Let me stop you. But before I come to that, Richard, what about Jaleel Smith? What about the year this guy's having? Because every game I look up, he's nearing a triple-double. He's over 30 points.
It's a stat box stuffer. It's almost a quadruple double if you throw in steals. I mean, it's been unbelievable what they've done at Huss this year. and everybody comes for them, and they might be the quickest conference champion I've ever heard of. The second place team in their league has 4 losses. I mean, they've clinched the league for like a week now, and it's going to make it challenging to kind of, I don't know that like you were asking Coach Graham about recharging your batteries. That's got to be a dilemma for Troy Phillips, because he does not have a conference tournament. He'll go into the state playoffs knowing that they're going to be, I would think, top 2, 3, 4 in the seeding process, and people will be coming for him. But, he's got Jaleel Smith. He's got the guy named Zach Anderson, his son Z Phillips. He's had a real deep bench, and they had a JV kid score 50-something points earlier this year. So they've got more coming. I mean, it's just the really impressive job that they've done this year, and they played some early season tough opponents as well.
Yeah, and our final player of the week is my favorite lefty. I'm stealing Randall's thunder. Kelsey Ryan, Lake Norman, scored 37 big ones. Also got a 400th assist on Friday, and she's nearing a top 10 all-time in assists for a North Carolina public school girl. Randall, tell me about Kelsey.
Kelsey can really shoot it. I think she's a 3-level scorer. She's been good for Coach McKenzie all 4 years up there at the Lake. And, I think she's your favorite lefty definitely for a reason.
Coach, what's it like having a player like this on your squad?
Oh my gosh. I can't even put it into words, to be honest with you. I don't know if you know, but that video right there, I had to call 2 timeouts within the first couple minutes of the game because her first 3, they called a 2. And so I have this timeout and we're celebrating, and then they're like, hey, that's a 2-pointer. And so we had to come out here. And I think this is the one right here where she finally breaks the Lake Norman scoring record. And she's so passionate, right? You can see just in her intensity right there. She's screaming. That's just a kid that I'm so lucky that she came over to the Lake. With tomorrow being senior night, I've been having to write our letters and stuff like that, and just what she means to us and to me as a person. And it's just really hard to put into words. I think, she's not someone that is just going to be in there and she's going to talk to you, right? But she also leads by example. When she speaks, really, really people listen. And she's more of a watch what I do and kind of follow me. And I would just say passion is the word that comes to mind when I think of her. I think she's going to have a fabulous career over at the United States Naval Academy. And I'm glad that I have hopefully about another month with her.
Another month. Rick, you got something to tell me about Kelsey?
Not about Kelsey. I was going to make the comment about Jaleel Smith and Hunter Huss, and they're the favorite probably for the 5A, but also you have Charlotte Catholic, who could be a favorite at the 6A. We've talked about the 7A and 8A as far as possible championships, but let's not forget about the 6A and 5A. And the other thing about Jaleel Smith, this young man is averaging 30 points a game, 7.5 rebounds a game, 5 assists, and 5 steals. That's a cumulative average of 47.5 as far as total points.
Hey, beating teams by himself.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And he's only a sophomore.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. We have some really talented sophomores. I'll bring in my favorite lefty, Kelsey. What was it like to break the record, not break the record, then break the record again?
Again, I think I told my dad this and coach. I was like, I wish that they had the cameras that we go back, but it was cool. Coach keeps giving me a hard time about the 2 timeouts, but at least we celebrated, and it was an amazing experience. Again, it's completely surreal that I've been able to be successful at this program and make a difference. It's a great accomplishment for myself that I really take pride in.
Kelsey, you just gotta remind Coach that she can't take those timeouts home with her. So.
That's right.
Yeah, listen, I don't like to take timeouts. We all know that, right? I like to save them. But the one thing that I'm going to add to this is, listen, I just wasn't ever used to this because Kelsey never shoots close to the line, right? It's always like 10 feet behind it. And so how am I supposed to know in a situation like that how close she was or what?
Kelsey, what did you learn to shoot that way? What did that develop? Because you do shoot very, very deep all the time, even in state championship games, big moments, deep shots.
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence from, starting in close and warm-ups, and then I just let it fly. I'm confident. I've been able to do it before, practice how you play, and, I shoot it farther in practice. So when I'm shooting back there, it's not really too far for me.
But what did that develop? Did you start it at a young age, or did you just wake up one day and you could shoot from 35 foot? I mean, how did that come about?
Yeah, so my dad, he actually learned from Del Curry, and so then he kind of brought that to me. And so, I was just like, well, look how far, because he would always, oh, I can shoot it farther than you. So I kept practicing because I don't like when he talks trash to me.
So you can beat him now, I take it.
Yeah, I can. He's got bad knees from the Navy, so we're good.
That's where the Navy thing comes from. Your dad was in the Navy.
Yes, sir. He was in for 25 years.
Awesome. Could you ever have imagined your high school career being as successful as it's been?
That's a good question. I think when I was a freshman, I think I just wanted to win a state championship. And, if the records after that follow, it's great. But again, I want something that no one can ever take away from me. Records, they get broken all the time. It's cool to have it for 20 something years or whatever, but you can't take away the state championship.
Kelsey, I got a question for you. If we take you right now, when we go back to freshman year, Kelsey, what advice do you think that you would give your younger self?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I would just tell, younger me, just you don't know when it's going to pay off, but it will.
I love that. Before we let you get out of here, you guys are chasing that back-to-back ring. You've been there. You understand how to do it. What will it take to repeat this year, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think, it doesn't just start now, right? It started in preseason when we were going at it. And then, now it's okay, like all of this preseason work, it's going to show right now. Coach's biggest quote I feel like I've heard every year is, it doesn't begin in March. It always starts preseason. So I think that kind of just holds true today.
Are you guys just as hungry as you were a year ago now, even though you won it?
We're hungrier.
Hungrier?
Yeah, I think we are.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, good luck to you guys. Hopefully we'll see you in where is it, Richard? We're going to Hickory and then Winston-Salem?
I believe that's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach McKenzie, hopefully we'll see you there. And good luck. Good luck to the Wildcats. And I do know if you get home court advantage, I probably will see you there because y'all don't lose at home at all.
And you better be in attendance and wearing that Lake Show shirt.
I don't know about the Lake Show shirt, but I'll be in attendance.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll take what we can get. I appreciate it, guys.
All right. You guys be good. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. That is Mackenzie Graham, the Lake Norman basketball coach. And that is Kelsey Ryan, the Lake Norman basketball star. Also known as my favorite lefty. Taking the title from Kate Sears, I was reminded I had two favorite lefties, I guess, last year. That's how you play it off. Let's talk about some games this week. We're going to start out with the CMS Girls Conference tournaments. Randall, tell me what you see here.
Well, I think I'm the only person on this whole panel that likes these conference tournaments, so I'm still excited about it.
You are that.
As Gary will mention when he gets to speak, it could be a rough Monday, Wednesday, but I'll be excited to see how some of these matchups finish up. I think South Meck being the 1 and Myers Park being the 2. I mean, they're on a crash course to see each other Friday night. As long as they take care of business. Gary,
I know you have thoughts about conference tournaments. I'm just gonna let you talk, bro.
This is an ice pack, and I'm putting it on my head because thinking about the girls in the conference tournament gives me a headache. Listen, the middle schools just put on an all-city middle school championship.
They did.
And you don't tell me there are more middle schools than there are high schools.
There are?
Yeah, but they doubled the number of high schools. And you're going to tell me the middle schools can put on a city championship, but the high schools can't? Come on, ADs. We not putting this one on Erica. This is the high school ADs.
Well, they will tell you that they're afraid. They will tell you they're afraid of losing gate, and they're afraid that everybody won't get the same number of games. Most of the teams are getting one game. The proposal you put up last year, we broke it up in 3 different divisions, gives the lower tier teams a chance to win the championship, be all tournament, get trophies, all that stuff, and get 3 games. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea.
And you might as well, if you're gonna have these 8 classifications that are super unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, to
Gary, are there going to be any surprises?
Only people paying money on Monday
Mhm.
to watch one of these games
Mhm.
are the parents. That's it.
That's true.
No students. And guess what? Students out of school tomorrow. There's no school on Monday. So
do you see any upsets along the way, or is this just chalk in each one of these conferences?
it's chalk. It's chalk. You're gonna get the same results. I mean, you're talking about from second place to third place, you're probably talking about a 20 to 30 point difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then from second place to fifth and sixth, you're talking a 50-point difference in an advantage. And we just talked to Coach McKenzie about how uneven basketball competition is among the girls right now. You're wasting money on Monday of first round. You're just wasting money. You're not making any money. You're losing money.
You could make some if you did your suggestion. I'm just saying. I get people get mad at me for always talking about city championship, but I've always thought we should have one. And I got the guy on screen. I got the guy on screen that can make it happen.
This is
crazy.
The ADs. This is the ADs at the high school level. A few of them, and I don't know how many of them, are afraid that people are getting left out.
Yeah.
And you won't know until you try. The middle schools don't seem to have a problem with it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Rick, what you got?
To dovetail what Gary said, and I agree, as far as regard to the ADs, as far as losing money, I don't know how they're making money on these early round games because, like Gary said, the only people that's coming is basically the parents, and the cost of the officials, cost of security, trainers, clock people. I don't know how they're making money. So the idea that Gary had last year would make more sense as far as to ADs and athletic programs that stress, for cash. I mean, this is an opportunity for them to make more money for the athletic program.
Absolutely. Richard.
Well, the thing that I would say is based on the reaction of football coaches to how the seeding process was, I think you'll see more traction for this after 1 year of the new 8 classification playoffs. Possibly teams will see the error in their ways, so to speak, and that it doesn't really help or hurt them. But that's where I think the rubber meets the road on this is people are going to make a move based on how much it benefits them in the playoff structure. And if you're a Mallard Creek and a North Mac, you probably get more quality points because you're playing another game against another powerful team. Whereas if you're an upset winner in another conference, I don't know if it hurts or helps you, but I think the teams that it helps want to play these games. The teams that it hurts will complain about it.
I just think if you give me a bracket where I know I have a chance in the city championship, and I don't have to play Mallard Creek, I don't have to play North Mac, I don't have to play Myers Park. I really have a chance to win something at the end of my season. I think that could be a big deal. I think the parents, I think a lot of these schools, long suffering, will show up if they're in a conference semifinal or city championship semifinal, Group C or whatever it is, and then there's a trophy at the end. There's an all tournament team, and I get a banner, and I get, as Gary says, I get a trophy that I earned. I think.
And to your point, if the middle schools can do it, it seems hard to believe the high schools couldn't figure out a way to make this happen.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that we didn't give a reason for last year because we didn't know yet. The 8 classifications hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, correct.
But, in the past, there was always that one little excuse that
I can move up.
I'm not in the playoffs and I make it to the tournament and somehow win it. That bumps me up to a 2 seed.
One of my favorite coaches has been here the longest. Used to always say that.
Yeah, it bumps me up to
from your alma mater.
Yeah, and that's why we need the conference tournament because the team that's out, or maybe it's a 5th seed who's making the playoffs, and they jump from 5th to 2nd. It happened to me 1 year, where I was at 5th going into the conference tournament. Won the conference tournament, ended up 2nd.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't matter now.
But that doesn't matter anymore because they don't seed the teams by conference championships anymore. And they don't seed the teams based on where they finished in their conference. So the conference tournament is just the 3rd round of a bunch of BTAs for lower level teams and, the you know, like we always use North and Mallard Creek as example in girls, you know, one to break the tie.
Yeah.
But it really is not going to matter.
Yeah.
Well, you can take the NIT version of the NCAA and apply it to the high school level, and I think you have a home run.
That's what Gary proposed last year. That's exactly what he proposed last year. Randall, let's look at the I'm trying to get it up. It says remove other media streams from the state. Hold on a minute. Hold on. This is semi-live television. I was trying to show you guys the state private school playoffs, but it's not going to let me show it. But Randall, is there anything, you know, in those in the 4A private schools you think is going to be an eye catcher for you?
No, absolutely not.
So it's Providence Day.
Providence Day versus Cannon, Part 3.
It's almost like Mallard Creek, North Meck.
Yeah, very, very. Yeah, it might be worse, to be honest with you.
There's the top half of the bracket.
Yeah.
What do you see? You don't see any upsets there?
No, I don't. I mean, Cannon is head and shoulders above everybody. You know,
What about Latin in the semifinals?
I think the two previous games, it will go the same exact way. I love Coach Mack to death, and when he hears this, he's probably gonna be mad at me. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see.
It ain't.
I don't see.
All right, let me show you the bottom half of the bracket. What roadblock was probably, and I think being number 2 actually may be better than being number 1. But does Forsyth have any shot in the semifinal with I don't know, 28-time state champions from Providence?
I don't think so. I think we are on a collision course for Providence Day at versus Cannon, Part 3.
I think it's cool they're playing at the Novant Fieldhouse. I love them, you know, getting off campus and going to a neutral site, and that place is probably the right size. I'm surprised that the state doesn't. The public.
Where's that at?
In Greensboro.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a good place. All right, let's look at the boys, Rick Lewis conference tournaments. What do you see here? Is it the same? Is it just chalk?
I think it's sort of ditto on the boys' side as it is on the girls' side.
That's not good.
Really?
You know, probably the one matchup that I see on the MEC Power 6 is the Butler versus Chambers game. Both of those teams have played up and down. Butler, of course, you know, beat North MEC at North MEC, but then they turn around and lose to Independence at home. You know, that's a conference that probably is worth looking at. You know, if somebody, you know, you're probably going to have a top 4 of North MEC, West Charlotte, and probably going to be either Butler or, you know, Chambers or Independence. And, you know, one of those teams between Butler, Chambers, and Independence could pull up an upset. But, you know, right now I think it's still going to be North MEC and West Charlotte in that particular conference.
Randall, you sounded surprised when he said it was chalk.
I did. I mean, I guess I wasn't surprised with chalk. I just feel like on the boys' side, that third team in there could throw a wrench into some things. I think Huff has a chance where they could throw a wrench in the greater 7A.
I think that's the most wide open of all 3 conference tournaments.
But I also think I felt like Audrey Kell played really, really well at the beginning of the season. Yeah. I know they've hit a rough patch.
Yeah.
But they got Coach Kraft, and I think that he will have his boys ready to play. And I think that I would not be shocked if they end up winning the Southwestern 7A day.
That's the difference between the girls and the boys tournament. The boys conferences, at least they go 3, maybe 4 teams deep, whereas the girls are all just a 2-team race.
Okay.
And so, you know, that semifinal round could be pretty good in the boys conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's worth, you know, spending money on. But in the girls conferences, you know, you don't want to spend money until the championship game.
Okay. All right. Let's look at the private schools. Rick, what do you see here? That's the top of the bracket.
Well, you know, for South Country Day was really dominant during the season, but since, you know, the snowstorm, you know, they went, you know, 2.5 weeks without practice like a lot of other teams, but they it's sort of a little bit of a roadblock and haven't been playing with the same amount of, you know, urgency that they did earlier in the year.
Mhm.
The number 2 team is going to be at the bottom, which would be Providence Day. But the team that I could also look at is Carmel Christian. They're sitting there at 13-11. They played, I think, the third most difficult schedule in the state this season, and they've lost some very, very close games to some really good teams. And just this past Friday, they beat, predominantly a powerhouse in the Burlington school. So they've had a good season with James Wood and also London Johnson. They could be a team that could sneak in and
okay. So if Carmel, let's advance 3-2 to Tuesday, the February 24th. Then the semifinals. Who you taking at PD?
Well, you're always going to have to go, in my opinion, you always have to go with the home team, but I think that's going to be a very competitive team, a game. And the other one, too, that I think could sneak in there and do some damage is the team of Cannon. They've also have had some really good games this year. They've been a little bit up and down, but they're also a team that could catch fire and be dangerous as well. So you may have that Cannon at Carmel game, which will be a very interesting game in the quarterfinals.
If Carmel
If
Carmel can beat
come down to Providence Day and Forsyth Country Day, more than likely.
Okay, what do you say, Randall?
If Carmel can get past Cannon, that game versus PD becomes very interesting. Carmel went to PD earlier in the year, lost a close game. They understand the hostile environment. I think it could, they've grown up a lot since that loss. So that game, if everything goes the way it's, bracketed out to, that'll be a very interesting game in the semis at PD.
Randall, you remember what happened last year in the semifinals at Providence Day between Carmel and Providence Day?
I don't remember what happened last year.
Carmel won.
There you go.
And they played Christ School.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time to do our annual Talking Preps CMS All Conference teams. Gary started me doing this years ago. The coaches hate it. The public loves it because the coaches vote on their own, and theirs doesn't come out. This is not the official team, guys. This is like the Gary, Randall, Rick team. But I think it's devoid of politics. There's no, I'm not going to vote for you. You vote for me. There's none of that. I think this is probably the most
coaches can get pretty petty. I've been in a lot of those meetings.
They can.
Yeah. So we'll start out with the girls, and here's the girls, and Randall and Gary. What do you tell us about your choices? Don't just an overview. We don't need to read through them all, but just an overview.
Well, I think the big thing for me is I want to say congratulations, obviously, to all the coaches of the year, especially Coach Dixon and Coach Jay over
there at Mars Park. You picking rookie coach?
I know the first year. I think she's coming after the GOAT. She's the first one after the GOAT. So I think I want to give her flowers. I think she did a phenomenal job in her first year.
No, Randall, I want everybody to hear what I said. She replaced the GOAT.
Yes, they know who you were talking about.
All right.
We got it. Thank you.
So y'all understand.
Yeah. So I just want to commend her on a fantastic year. Coach Dixon did a great job over at AK. I think she battled through a lot of injuries last year. Getting Alden Washington back was huge for her, and I think it's well deserved. And of course, Jennifer Baker just doing what she does over there at North with Lanice.
Jade Bell sticks out to me. We were talking off camera. She had 46 in the game last week. Is she probably the most under the radar player in Charlotte?
She is. There is nobody, and I mean nobody, that can score the basketball like that kid. She is a 3-level scorer that's tough as nails, gets after it. She knows how to put the ball in the basket.
See, now, Randall, I love you, man, but you always hating on my girl down there in Gaston County. I'm telling y'all, that her Twitter handle is They Love O. I'm telling you, Oshana Holland is the thing. I'm telling you, she got 3,000 points. You don't score 3,000 points.
Listen.
That's Kanika.
Listen, they score their baskets in a whole totally different way. Yeah. Jade does it. Jade is different.
Okay.
Jade is different.
Oshana, I'm trying to get Randall to come around on you.
The thing about Oshana, she's a stat box stuffer.
She was my player of the year last year. What are you talking about coming around?
Who's your player of the year mid-season though? She's having 35. Who was your player?
Hey, listen, man. We know how this story goes. We know how this story is.
You about to pick men's basketball. I'm just saying. I have nothing to do with it. I'm just saying. She got 3K, man. 3K. This is crazy. All right. Boys all conference. Rick, overview. What do you see here? Well, not what you see, but why'd you pick it?
Well, first of all, we were talking about the void of politics. I remember several years ago when Isaiah Evans wasn't selected Conference Player of the Year, which was a
Insane.
travesty. But again, let's start off with the Mecklenburg Power Six. And first of all, congratulations, Dwayne Lewis. I think for Coach Lewis is he's built a model of consistency and a winning culture that's second to none in the state.
Yeah.
Say what you want, he gets the job done each and every year. And I think a lot of times people will go, oh, they lost Isaiah Evans. This is a year that someone's going to dethrone North Meck, but for some reason they happen to be the champions once again. And you look at basically the player of the year, in my opinion, is Ashton Pierce. And, he's had a remarkable year. Kahari Coleman at West Charlotte, who could, is a very easily high major player and has unlimited potential. You got Chacho Womack also from West Charlotte. Terrence Badio from Butler, and also QJ Young from Chambers. I think that's a pretty legitimate list. I think, the one person that could have probably squeaked into the first team was Xavier Young from North Mecklenburg.
He had a huge game on Friday. Richard, seeing this list for the first time, what do you think about it? Because you've seen these guys probably more than anybody else in person on the screen right now.
Yeah, that Mech Power 6 first team, who are you leaving off? Because I'm with you. Xavier Young won the game basically against West Charlotte on Friday. And another underrated factor from the first West Charlotte North Met game was Estwick left with an injury, didn't come back. West Charlotte made a comeback against his backups at the point guard, and North Met looked the part. Friday night, they didn't have any trouble because they got Estwick the ball, and he made good things happen. So those are two guys that are fantastic. Isaiah White might be as good an athlete as there is in that league. So you got three guys I'm looking at on the second team. I like Machario at Independence. I mean, there's guys in that league that are unbelievable that are not on the first team. I mean, that's how talented that league is.
Yeah, that league's tough. And then in the Southwestern, Nick Boney just did a phenomenal job at Providence, a team that, you're used to seeing like West Meck, kind of being on the bottom, being on the top. It's a pretty amazing run they've had over there. And Caleb Gaither had a great year for them. And, looking at the Greater Charlotte, we've talked about West Meck all year, 0-25 last year. They're on a 9-game win streak. They hadn't won 9 games in the season in like 5 years. So, I mean, that's just a remarkable thing. I mean, if I was taking all the coaches of everywhere in North Carolina, it'd be hard for me not to name Chris Ewell as the statewide coach of the year. I mean, he's just done a phenomenal job. And Myers Park is making a run. Rucker Jameson had a triple-double, I believe, on Friday night. So, they're making a run. I'm sure they're going to want a little revenge maybe in the conference tournament championship game. That may be the most – well, West Charlotte North Meck is probably going to be the most entertaining, but that's a close second if those two teams meet because Myers Park will want to avenge that. And West Meck have a chance to win their first conference tournament probably since the 80s. So that could be a phenomenal event on Friday night. But, I think these are really good all-conference teams. I was pleasantly surprised when they came in, made a couple of adjustments on the girls' side, but I think you guys got it right. I mean, just for me looking from the outside in. And like I said, I love it that it doesn't have a lot of politics. And Gary, thanks for pushing me to do this a couple of years ago. I know it doesn't always make us popular with the coaches, but I know the people like to see it. And, we'll have our all-observer list. Rick, Randall, and myself will go eat at our favorite restaurant, Red Robin, and Randall will order pizza at a burger place. And we'll pick
Every year.
Every year. Brings his daughter, eats pizza every year.
Yeah, I wanted to make one comment about Chris Ewell. I know we've talked about him quite a bit in the last 3 segments of the show, but again, we talk about he has those guys believing, and that's the most impressive thing. They believe they can win, and when you look at their roster compared to the roster of, say, a Myers Park, they don't compare as far as talent. But the thing about it is, it's called belief and confidence. And I think, for example, I talked to Chris yesterday, and I said, it could be another, West Meck versus Myers Park. And he said, bring it on. He said, just the anticipation, just they won a conference championship, regular season. I think they want to take it a step further. They also think they think and they believe they can win the conference tournament championship.
Yeah, that's going to be one to watch for sure. All right, it's time for my favorite part of the show. It's time for Coach versus Coach. Are y'all ready?
Let's go.
I got a surprise. Randall Clark.
Look at that.
I told you.
We have finally made. We have arrived.
I told you. All right, Gary, what we doing?
The last week of the regular season.
Exactly.
Are you taking the ball, Gary? You let Randall have it.
I'll let Randall have it.
All right, Mr. Clark. Question number 1: what should be more important for high school athletic programs, a high floor or a low ceiling?
Ooh, this is a very good question. I think I'd say just a high floor, and I say this because you got to have a target of what you're shooting for. You know, I think like we talked about with Coach Yule, and we said, like, if you don't talk about winning the state championship, you're never going to get there. And so I think having these programs where, you know, the goal is to win and to get to that level, obviously, you know, that's always the case, but I think you have to have a realistic vision of what that looks like too.
Okay, Gary.
If I'm looking at it as a administrator, a principal, or AD, I want the high floor. And to me, the definition of a high floor in an athletic program is we are fully funded for every sport that the state says we have to play.
Yeah.
Okay. We got JV teams for the sports that have JV teams. We have, we have a few intramural teams, but we have full participation, meaning we have hundreds of kids in the school that participate in sports. And, you know, participating in sports, I think, is one of the best things that happens to kids. And so if I'm an AD, I want full participation, especially if I'm a principal. Now, if I'm a coach of a sport, I want the ceiling. I want the low ceiling. I'm happy we got all these teams at school and we got people playing, but personally, I'm trying to get a championship. You know, I want to win. I want to at least win a conference championship. To me, that's the low ceiling. So, you know, it just depends on what perspective you have. Are you an AD or a principal? You want every sport that the state says you should be able to play. So you have all your kids in school. It's something that they can do. You know, you got all the non-revenue sports as well as JV teams and all your revenue sports. That's the high floor.
All right, Gary, question number 2. Which call would you like to see officials have more consistency with from game to game?
Hand checking.
Oh,
I knew he was going to say that.
Hand checking. Every year, when you go to these officials meetings, the head coaches have to go to officials meetings, you know, once a year to find out what the new rules are and the points of emphasis. And every year they say hand checking. But then you get into games and sometimes they're calling it consistently and sometimes they're not. And sometimes they call it in the first half and don't call it in the second half. Or sometimes you got this coach that's chirping in the official's ear the whole game. And so he's, you know, the officials getting tired of it. So he starts calling everything. Or the worst thing of all, when you see the supervisor of officials walk in that building, you know they're gonna call it every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but they're not consistent on the hand checking.
Okay, Randall.
Charge block.
Okay, I'll do somebody
without a question. Charge block is the most inconsistent call in all of basketball. Like, I think people thought that little jump circle was going to help. It doesn't. And then in high school, it makes it even worse. I think, you know, there's too many. Oh, he was moving. Oh, what, you know, was he says. There's too many variables for a bang, bang call. And I think it just makes it inconsistent.
All right. Randall, other than the shot clock, what college or pro rule would you like to see high schools adopt?
I mean, I think obviously shot clock's the biggest one. I mean, I think the only one you could possibly say is the advancing of the basketball.
Thank you. Can we do it in college too? Can we do it in college too? I watched NC State, I think, with Miami last night, and they couldn't advance the ball to half court, and they never got a good shot off.
And I think, but
I think women do. What do women do? Like,
but and even in college, I think the women you can do it in the women's game, but you can't do it in the men's game. Yeah, so I mean, I think that one is the one that if we were to adopt something, that would be the rule I would adopt.
All right, Gary.
That's a good one. I like in the last minute of the game, the clock. If you can't advance it, then the clock stops after a made basket.
Okay.
Not not timeout stop. It just
Nah, you mean
the ball is
yeah.
inbounded.
Yeah.
That's how they do it in the pros in the last
Gotcha.
minute of the game.
I got you.
Rick Lewis, I'm curious your answer here. Other than the shot clock, what college or pro rule would you like to see high schools adopt? I know we're you and I shot clock brethren.
Yeah,
We're there, but not
shot clock would be the number one priority.
number one answer. Shot clock. We got that.
Yeah,
but don't let Richard Walker steal.
I would probably go with RC on the charge block. I would like to see basically the only time you can receive a block is when you're guarding your primary man, and remove the weak side help with the weak side defender comes in and takes a charge. I think that's one that could be alleviated. I think that would be the one I would like to see removed.
Mr. Walker, what would you like to see?
I think eliminate the 5-second call. I mean, they've got so much on their plate, they never call it right. When they do call 5 seconds, it's really 8 or 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, just let them move around if they want to play. If we're not going to have and the shot clock would solve that too. If you got the shot clock, it wouldn't. Okay, I don't care if the guy dribbles it around forever. He's got to shoot within 30 seconds or whatever the number is. But when we have no shot clock, it does make it more of a factor. But I just think that's incorrectly called a lot of the times too.
Yeah, my son plays pro ball in France now, and he played at Providence Day in high school. We went to a Providence Day game a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Dad, where's the shot clock?" It was so weird to him to see basketball without a shot clock, and because it's the only level that you don't have a shot clock pretty much anywhere. What about moving that point line back though, Randall? What about moving that line back?
What I was see that now my question was
that's what I would do. I move that line back.
Or would you give him 6 fouls?
I give him 6 fouls and move the line back, and have a shot clock, and allow you to advance the ball to half court. It made the game so much better.
Anyway, clean up a lot of
it. I noticed in the North Met West Charlotte game.
Yeah.
When either team took threes, and this is the boys' game.
Yeah.
They were a good foot and a half, 2 feet.
Oh yeah, they're way back.
Close to the volleyball line.
Yeah. The line doesn't bother high school boys. Now I would leave it the same for the girls, but for the boys, I mean,
you can't really do that in high school. You got multiple lines on the court.
Yeah, but
Girls
the boys, it's so.
They ain't a boy in North Carolina got as much range as my favorite lefty. I tell you that now. She can shoot that thing from half court.
And to everyone's point, since we're now such an international global game,
yes,
why are we not making everything streamlined? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
We absolutely should. And it's going to, I think that hurts our kids somewhat. People say, well, everybody's not going to college to play, but y'all changed from slow pitch to fast pitch softball. Same argument.
Exactly.
Same argument. All right. So we're on pace for the fastest show ever. Randall, it is your final thoughts.
I think with doing these conference teams this year, what I realize is that we are turning into everybody gets a trophy.
Oh, you sound like Gary.
Yeah, and it's bad, and it's real bad. And
well, Randall will tell you, we talked about for the girls just making it five players.
Ooh.
But then you're going to come back to your Title IX issue. Why the boys get 10 and the girls get 5?
Now, Rick Lewis had his way. The boys have 40. Inside joke, y'all watching on TV. Inside joke. Go ahead, Randall, your final thought.
So I mean, I think we just have to really try to find a solution. I mean, 8 classifications I think is way too many for what we have in the state, and the conference realignment. I think, like Coach said earlier in the show, it really just hurt the women's game because you got these conferences with only 1 or 2 teams, maybe max, that are competitive. I know we just did it. But I think, being able to evolve and change and fix it and realizing that you made a mistake and admitting that mistake and correcting it is super huge. So I really hope that we can find a middle ground where, the less competitive teams get to play each other. The teams that are really, really good get to play each other. And we can just have a strong schedule to where these teams aren't playing 8 games that are really competitive. And then the next 20 games they have they win by 30.
A system like CMS that has most of its schools in its own system, they could rejigger conferences since conference seeding doesn't count, and you can put together girls basketball conferences where everybody isn't playing, 80-2. I mean, it's got to be hard knowing you're going to lose 97-12 before.
And I mean, and as a, I mean, just I've had kids come up to tell me like, the kids at my school don't even ask if we won last night. They ask how much did we lose by. Like, that's demoralizing, especially for girls. And like people ask,
why go to practice?
Yeah, and people ask like, why is girls basketball at high school down so much? Like, some of it has to do with soccer, volleyball, softball, like kids playing other sports, but also a contributing factor that is like, I got to go see these kids tomorrow at school.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's a great.
And I'm in school every day, and you're exactly right, Brandon.
Yeah.
There will be a complete turn at these schools that only won less than 5 games this season, and they lost by an average of 40 or more. Their whole roster will flip over because the girls that took that beating are not going to take it again next year. They're just not going to play.
I just wonder, guys, and I'm going to get out of here because I'm going to preserve my record, Gary, of fastest show. But I wonder what's going to happen to girls basketball in 5 years. I wonder if we'll have 30 less teams, 40 less teams. That's what I really think is going to happen. I think there's going to be so few teams. There'll be no JV at all, and there'll be so few teams that it's going to be an issue. I think that's coming down the road for North Carolina. But anyway, that is our show. We're going to set our fast time record. I'm not going to let anybody else talk. I'm going to do my finish. We're going to get out of here. That is Randall Clark, the #1 trainer I know. That is Rick Lewis, the #1 voice high school basketball. You hear it every week. We're lucky to have Chris Hughes in football. We got Rick in basketball, and that's why I believe we have the best show that you can watch about high school sports year-round. That's Richard Walker, the only guy who's done this longer than me. I say it every week. He taught me how to do this. I'm very thankful, Richard, for that. That is Gary Richmond, my frat brother and the former CMS coach, and we are done in record time talking about it.